That is 16 books. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Just Another Struggling Writer, the Bleakard author's one-stop shop for commiseration and hopefully inspiration. My name is Carrie Scher, and I am just another struggling writer. Today I am presenting my May TBR, and before we get into the books themselves, first a confession. April was my worst reading month in 2024, and dating all the way back to sometime last year. I only finished one book. I DNF'd another and I started a whole bunch of others. And that one book I finished wasn't even on my main TBR. So I won't be doing my typical TBR construction for May where I have all the categories that I'm filling. My first main goal is to play catch up and read those books that I didn't get to in April. I've started all of them and they reach various stages of completion. There's two that I'm hoping to get done this weekend or before the first, but may spill over into May. The first one is The Court of Mortals by A.J. Lancaster. This is the third book in the Stariel series. I'm about 70% of the way through it, but I'm listening to it on audio, and that always takes me a little bit longer, but I am trying to get that done before the first of the month. So hopefully that one will get done, but there may be some spillover. The next one is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. I am a good portion of the way through that one. I want to say like 40%, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm going to try and get that one done this weekend as well. It is currently April 27th. So that one may be another one that I do actually get to finish before the end of the month. And then there are a bunch of others that there's no chance I'm going to finish. Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. I'm really enjoying it. It's just, I find myself having trouble picking it up. I'm reading it physically, so it's not as convenient. And it's just been one of those months where I just haven't like had the time or energy to hold a book in front of my face. Then there's The Pariah by Anthony Ryan. I'm about 10% of the way through that one, and that one may be a DNF because I'm just not very interested in it. And then lastly, Caliban's War by James S.A. Corey, the second book in the Expanse series. I was really enjoying it, and I got, I think, maybe to like the 40 or 50% mark, and then I got sidetracked and it had to go back to the library. So I immediately tried to check it out again. I placed it on hold, and it's like a 4-week wait. So that's definitely going to go into May. But all of these books, save one, I'm really enjoying. It's just, I just was feeling super slumpy and super distracted. It just wasn't a good month for me reading or writing wise, really, to be honest. But I'm hoping to make May my comeback month. I have some time off at the end of the month where I'll be at home and having plenty of extra time and hopefully relaxing, and not having to worry about work as much will help me read and play catch up. So those five books are already on my TBR from last month that I'm going to try and finish in this new month. And then I have quite an ambitious slate ahead of me because I went on this like crazy manic binge where I was checking out a bunch of things from the library on my Libby app. Even though there was no chance I was going to get to any of them, I still checked them out. And like when they came up on hold, I was like, oh yes. And now like they all have to go back at the same time. So for this month, my plan is to just read all of those books that I didn't finish from last month and then clear out my library queue. So the first book on this list is The Sun in the Void by Gabriela Romero Lacruz. And I've heard kind of mixed things about this one, but I don't exactly know what it's about. So the synopsis says, two women embark on an unforgettable quest into a world of dark gods and ancient magic in the sweeping fantasy debut inspired by the history and folklore of colonial South America. And that already is super cool. Like, we all know that the traditional European inspired medieval fantasy landscape is kind of tired, and I'm always down to expand my own horizons and read about cultures and backgrounds and fantasy settings that are not inspired by the familiar, which is, you know, that European white setting. So already excited about that. The next one that I have to read because someone else is waiting on it is The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. And if you have been following me at all this year, you know I have been reading at least one T. Kingfisher book a month. That wasn't by design. It's just that's how it's working out. I've really fallen in love with T. Kingfisher's writing. And I really truly feel like she could write anything and I would read it. And I'm going to put that to the test with this because it is a horror novel. And as you may recall from my January wrap up, I didn't really get along with the first horror book that I read. I'm not super imaginative as a reader. I'm just absorbing what's on the page, and I don't feel like that's very conducive to reading horror because you have to like actually be in it and be really like in the theater of the mind to really get a spook out of it. So I don't know that I'm going to be scared by this. This one says, a young woman discovers a strange portal in her uncle's house, leading to madness and terror in this gripping new novel from the author of the innovative, unexpected, and absolutely chilling The Twisted Ones. So again, I think I'll probably like the writing. Like I said, I love Kingfisher and will read pretty much anything she puts out. Next up is The City of Dusk by Tara Sim. Again, know nothing about it other than that it was available and in the fantasy section. It says, this dark epic fantasy follows the heirs of 4 noble houses, each gifted with a divine power, as they form a tenuous alliance to keep their kingdom from descending into realm-shattering lore. The 4 realms are life, death, light, and darkness. All converge on the City of Dusk. For each realm there is a god, and for each god there is an heir. Okay, so that sounds pretty cool. I love political intrigue. No idea if that's actually part of it, but it says 4 noble houses. So that actually sounds really cool. This could be really good. Next up, we have a YA, and I don't really read a lot of YA. I try not to because I never really feel that great about it. Even if the writing is good, I just recognize that I would rather be reading adult because it's denser and just gives me more of what I want. But I do recognize that there's plenty of YA out there that I might enjoy, and I'm holding myself back from enjoying it by just writing off YA as a category in general. And this one looks so good. This is Sing Me to Sleep by Gabi Burton. In this dark and seductive YA fantasy debut, perfect for fans of Fourth Wing, ugh, and these violent delights, ugh, a siren assassin falls for a forbidden man. Okay, not loving those comps, but I am loving this cover. Oh my. So this might be hit or miss for me, but looks incredible. And again, reading outside of my familiar comfort zone. I'm trying to diversify my reading, and this might be a great way to do that. It looks cool. We'll see if it actually pans out. Next up, we have another YA fantasy. Again, not super excited about the YA part, but I have heard a lot of great things. And I know this one is also comped to Fourth Wing, but I have heard reviewers that I trust say that it's better than Fourth Wing. It is like, while there's similar elements, this does Fourth Wing better than Fourth Wing. So this one says Game of Thrones meets Fourth Wing in a debut young adult fantasy that's full of rivalry, romance, and dragons. And I have been looking for a dragon book to read, and I haven't really loved a lot of the ones that I've tested out. And then lastly, on the books that I already have checked out, I have So Let Them Burn by Kamilah Cole. And again, this is a YA that is recently released. Whip smart and immersive, this Jamaican-inspired fantasy follows a God's blessed heroine who's forced to choose between saving her sister or protecting her homeland. Perfect for the fans of Iron Widow and Priory of the Orange Tree. I didn't like Priory of the Orange Tree. I DNF'd it. Iron Widow, I read the first couple of chapters, but it was a library checkout, and then I got distracted and was reading my TBR books and didn't get back to it. I think this is another one that could be really good. Another YA, I'm not super excited. See, this is why I need to be a little bit more diligent about checking these kinds of things before I just willy-nilly check them out from the library, because I know that I'm not a big fan of YA. But maybe all these YA books mean that I'll actually catch up on my reading goals, because they tend to be a little bit easier to get through. So those are all the books that I have already checked out that I need to read. And then I have a bunch of holds that should be coming due this month as well. So the first one is The Curse of Saints by Kate Dramis. Not a YA, so looking forward to that. As the realm teeters on the edge of catastrophic war, will she be their savior or destroyer? Will he be hero or villain? When faced with world-breaking forces, who will they become? So romantasy, probably. Don't know much else about it. Then I have another dragon book that is Dragonfall by L.R. Lamb. And again, just wanting a dragon book to hit for me for once. This says, this is blurred by Samantha Shannon and Robin Hobb. Great. And Hannah Kanner, which, as you know, I loved her 2 books. Long ago, humans betray dragons, stealing their magic and banishing them to a dying world. Centuries later, Their descendants worship dragons as gods, but the gods remember and they do not forgive. Cool. Excited about that. I love all the blurbs. Next up, we have another romantasy, When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker, and this cover is incredible. Again, don't know anything about it, just saw, you know, that it was highly rated. The best-selling phenomenon, When the Moon Hatched, is a fast-paced fantasy romance featuring an immersive, vibrant world with mysterious creatures, a unique magic system, and love that blazes through the ages. Okay, that could be on the back of any romantasy. So, didn't really learn a lot from that, but it looks, look at this cover. Love that. Looks beautiful. That is coming to me in about, and that should be coming to me in about 3 weeks. I am currently 7th in line and 27 people waiting behind me. So whenever I get it, I'm gonna need to read it pretty quick. Next up is Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. I probably don't need to tell you about it, but I know it is about a young woman who was born with half a soul or had her soul like stolen or something by fae. And it is just sort of a light fairy romantasy, but without like all of the what we have come to associate with fairy romantasies. And I really enjoyed and am enjoying the Starial series, which is really similar. It's really very light fantasy, fairy romance, but it's like the romance is more important than the fairy part, and it's really light and just fun and just a really relaxing read. I'm really enjoying it, and so when I heard about Half a Soul, I was like, that just sounds just like Starial, and I'm really enjoying it. So that could be another one that hits for me. Looking forward to that. Then we have another YA, Tomi Adeyemi, Children of Blood and Bone. This has been out for a while, and I haven't gotten to it because I don't typically like reading YA. West African inspired fantasy debut, instant #1 bestseller. They killed my mother, they took our magic, they tried to bury us, now we rise. So not much to say about that one. It's been on my radar for a while, and like I said, I was just binge adding everything to my holds, and then I maxed them out. And it looks like I've got 3 other, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, and then Caliban's War should be coming back to me so I can finish that. But all my other holds are 8 weeks or longer. So how many books total? We've got the 5 from last month that I'm trying to finish. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 loans that I currently have, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holds that should be coming to me in May. Oh my gosh, that is 16 books. There is no chance I'm going to finish 16 books in 1 month. Absolutely none. So some of these are probably not going to get attended to, but that's my goal, is to clear out as many of them as possible. Why don't we just call it those first 6 that are currently checked out and call it a day? But those are the books that are on my radar for this month, including the ones that I need to finish for last month. Like I said, I'm going to try and get those, at least 2 of those done this weekend or before the first of the month next week. And that'll make that burden a little bit easier. There's no way I can finish 16 books in a month. That would be a book every 2 days. Let's say I knock out two of those books from last month. So that makes it 14. That's still on average pretty close to a book every 2 days. It doesn't help me that much. And if I try and knock out the YAs first, that might be a little bit easier. That's hefty. Like I knew this was going to be ambitious. I didn't realize it was going to be that ambitious, but you never know. I could feel the urge like I did in January. In January, I felt like I was reading, so I did 10 books in January, so that's a book every 3 days. So I could probably do 10, finish out my queue from last month, my TBR from last month, and then the books that are already checked out. The problem is that I checked them all out at the same time and they're due pretty quick. So I'm actually gonna have to start reading those really soon if I want to knock them out before they have to go back. So I've got quite a project ahead of me, but I'm hoping for another big month like I had in January, catch up on my pace for my end of the year goal, which was again 75 books, 6 books a month. And then I can get back to my regular TBR construction. I'm really sad I didn't get to use my Mimic this month, but I think it's for the best. This is really diversifying my reading in terms of what is available to me. I shop mostly at Half Price Books, and the selection there can be pretty thin at times. And also saving myself money on books I'm not sure that I'm going to like. So that is everything that I have for you guys today. Wish me luck as I embark on this 16 book TBR for the month of May. I'm still working out my content plans for the next week or two because I'm probably not going to do a reading wrap up for April since I only did one book, and I'll just combine it with May's. But whatever the case may be, I hope you look forward to it, and I will see you then. Bye.